you're working 9 to 5, you possibly have kids at home, or maybe you don't. What can they do to get their feet into real estate?
So from a real estate perspective, I think you need to have a clear vision of what you're looking for.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, that's going to help drive the passion, because when you've got that passion, it makes everything just a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Like I said, it makes that first 6 months super easy. But if they're looking to move into real estate, especially if they're looking to move into real estate investing, again, it goes back to that discipline and it goes back to those rules. I wrote a book not long ago all about the mistakes that I made early on in the investment journey, and the mistakes that I see as I'm, working as in an agent capacity, helping
Hmm.
new investors, because that's a big part of my business. It's something I'm super passionate about, is helping people get into real estate investing. And so I'm trying to normalize this, showing what our mistakes are. Because, if you're watching Instagram and TikTok and all these places, everybody just wants to show you the highlight reel. Nobody wants to show you about the difficult times that they had going through, the mistakes that they made. They just want to show you those wins.
Right.
They've got 30 seconds and they want to show off. Look at me, look what I've done. Which I don't have any issue with at all. I think we need to be celebrating our successes, but we also need to be conscious of our mistakes and sharing in those mistakes too. Because if I can take somebody's learning curve and I can shorten it and flatten it just a little bit for them, that can mean the difference between them staying in business and doing something that they love and they're passionate about, versus going back to the safety and security of that corporate 9 to 5.
Yeah.
What can I do to help them along that path? And one of those things is having those clear set of rules to know that when you come across a potential investment, you don't have to talk yourself into it or out of it. It either fits in your rule books or it doesn't. Now, as you get a little more seasoned and you do it a little bit more, you can kind of expand that out a little bit, and then you can predict the future a little bit better. You get, what we call that crystal ball. But in the beginning, you need to have a very disciplined set of rules and say, okay, these are the types of investments that I'm looking for. They fit into this box. They check this box. And I always say err a little bit on the side of caution with those. Be a little more conservative with those estimates, because I can tell you, if you're looking for a 10 or a 12% ROI, and that's kind of how it pencils on the front side, expenses are always going to come up that you don't anticipate. So you're probably going to end up more in that 6 to 8 range.
Hmm.
So if I start at 10 or 12 and I end up at 6 to 8, I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy
Yeah.
and excited about that. But if I start at 6 or 8 and I end up at 1 or 2 or maybe -1, I'm not so happy about that. So I've got to make sure that everything kind of fits into that box that I'm looking for, especially in the beginning when I don't know what I don't know.
I think a lot of times people come into real estate investing with the mindset that they are going to make those big ROIs, those 10 to 12% on their, $100,000 down payment or investment that they put into it. And realistically, you might actually lose money in the beginning, but in the end, it's a mistake that you can use to make sure that you don't make again in the future, if that makes more sense.
Oh, 100%. You are exactly right, Will. And it's one of those
Mhm.
things too that you got to make sure that you're limiting that downside, so that even if
Right.
it is a loss and you end up taking a little bit of a hit on it, but you can still live to keep on playing. You don't want it to
Right.
be so devastating that it knocks you out of the game completely.